What is going on, SoFi fans? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So SoFi's gone down quite a lot. I think we need to start taking a step back and realizing why we are actually investing in SoFi and the advantages of doing so. So I'm going to go over some data points, some facts that you need to realize why SoFi is a screaming buying opportunity at these prices. Before I get into any of that, making sure you guys hit that thumbs up and subscribe is always greatly appreciated. With that though, let's get right to it. So when it comes down to SoFi, I've been saying in a lot of videos that it is a huge buying opportunity because of several different factors, one of which is just the pure discount that it's on. And Tanner did post this on Twitter, and it gives you good representation of that. So it shows the price book ratio, also the revenue growth year over year. So it lists all of that. And in case you guys don't know, the lower the price book value, the better the discount potentially. So SoFi is among the lowest as far as 1.08. So that's very, very low. And in reality, if you do compare that with a lot of the other ones, because typically there's a fine line between discount and just a bleeding business. So for instance, looking at Goldman Sachs, Wells Fargo, Citigroup, they all do have low price to book ratios, but the revenue year over year is all down, except SoFi. So you can see SoFi is at a substantial discount, but yet we are still growing. So I think in comparison, we are a huge diamond in the rough, and a lot of people will eventually realize that. You do start to see more and more institutions buying on the secondary market, and also the dark pool taking advantage and realizing that SoFi is a significant discount. And I always bring this up. This is all the transactions recently from the dark pool from Friday, and you do see a pretty substantial amount of institutions purchasing. So again, take that how you see that. Keep in mind, I'm not a financial advisor. Do your own due diligence at the end of the day. So I do know for the fact that institutions are significantly seeing SoFi in a very positive light, especially based on a discount level. Outside of that though, there's a lot of new customers. So as far as their marketing standpoint, they're very innovative. So they are really trying to encumber the whole all-in-one component. And based on the recent earnings, it does seem to be for the most part pretty successful. And I think generally speaking, the reviews when it comes down to SoFi are very positive. So I think that's going to be very good for customers going forward to kind of piggyback off of that growth as well. And one very good representation of that is their recent Q2 earnings. So in here though, it goes to show huge amount of growth. So 69% year over year just for member growth. So that's a huge increase. Even technically the total products was up 79% year over year. So going back to this, it's very advantageous for customers to jump over, especially SoFi's offering, I believe, is 2% APY right now, well higher than any of the traditional banks. So I think it's a little bit more incentivizing for customers to jump over to SoFi, and especially not only that though, it encumbers the all-in-one scenario. So again, that might be a little bit more of an advantage going forward. Hopefully we should see continued year-over-year growth and also quarter-over-quarter. So again, I think that's a very good component. Hopefully it does continue on so, because based on their recent earnings as well, especially if they do continue on the same trend, it should be actually debt-free by mid-2023, which is a huge accomplishment. So let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. I personally would love to own a fintech that has zero debt. So that's something you just need to factor in. When it comes down to it though, a lot of the articles about SoFi have been very negative, with the exception of recently. We are getting to such a crazy price point that even hypothetically, looking on the actual chart just briefly, we are below even when we had our Q2 earnings out, despite the little bit more of a downtrend. So going back to this point, it is at a substantial discount, but there's still more and more articles now coming out saying that it might be the end of the downtrend for SoFi and some other SPAC related stocks such as Lucid, which I do cover as well. So make sure you do hit that thumbs up and subscribe, because I do Lucid and SoFi, a lot of content in that regard. But outside of those points, although those are pretty substantial points, I'm a very big fan of the technicals. And on the actual technicals, we are very, very oversold. So I think that's one aspect if you factor in everything that I just mentioned, and also the technicals and the huge amount of growth coming SoFi's way. And I personally still feel that 2023 is going to be SoFi's year to shine. This is when we most likely are going to outperform the broader market. But looking on stochastic on the actual technicals, RSI is currently at 37 and stochastic is at 6. both very oversold. So in reality, we are very overdue for a nice rebound, a nice rally, especially given the circumstances of what Powell's been saying, how he ideally wants around the 4% range up until the tail end of 2023 for the interest rate. That's just going to make SoFi's underlying business so much better. And if you add to that, though, the recent clarification on the student debt, that does mean roughly about $200 million additional on the bottom line for SoFi for interest. That's going to be very, very beneficial. More revenue is going to incentivize more customers getting in, and hopefully a little bit more institutional backing, which again is already pretty substantial. So I think right now SoFi is an amazing buying opportunity. It encumbers all in one the perfect growth / stability, because even myself, I've been investing since 2009. My overall portfolio isn't so much growth, but SoFi is actually one of those ones that meets my criteria. The underlying sector that they are in is very, very stable and should always flourish in a higher interest rate environment. So you get that component. But not only that though, SoFi has huge amount of growth in its future, especially it's adding more and more features to their actual invest, just in general. Like I said about the encumbering all-in-one scenario, higher quality customers as well compared to other traditional banks. So I think in general, like I said, SoFi is a very good deal, and which in general though, I haven't even touched on the 2 acquisitions that SoFi does have under its belt. I believe those ones will be very profitable. I believe it says 2023 onwards. That's where it's going to be roughly about 80 million, give or take. Let me know in the comments below if you do remember that offhand. But still, there's a lot of good things coming SoFi's way, regardless of if you are a value investor, because I personally do feel at these prices is going to incentivize a whole new rush of investors called value investors, where they will be looking at a lot of these stats and realize that it is having a huge upside potential. So the fact that we are at a massive discount yet we have huge growth, it is a no-brainer. So let me know your thoughts on all of that in the comments below, and what you've been doing with SoFi, whether you've been adding, subtracting, selling, whatever it is. Let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. Hopefully everyone's having an amazing weekend, so don't forget to hit that thumbs up, and subscribe is always greatly appreciated. And with that said though, let's all make a lot of money on SoFi.